Welcome. We are preparing to launch the Psychic Dog Talk radio program featuring unique, independent commentary on news, science, and current events. Always be sure to check out the free website for important updates between shows. It's PsychicDogTalk.com. Now we are delighted to introduce our superior host, David Lineo. Welcome to the first ever episode of the Psychic Dog Talk radio program. My name is David Lineo. I'm your host. And this is all new to me, but I'm loving it. Can you believe Donald Trump just got elected our president? I could believe it. I mean, we kind of saw it coming towards the end. I guess some people didn't see it coming, but I didn't see it coming 2 years ago. I think it's kind of funny that we just elected somebody who... I mean, where to begin? Where to begin, really? I waited a while to give my commentary on the election. I think I've had time to digest it, so I'm going to try to begin, talking about it and let you know what I think. Trump has a crazy, and not like mentally ill crazy, but a ridiculously tremendous cult following of loyal people who support him. Like you said, he could probably shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and, I don't know, they probably had it coming, right? But it's time to rein that in a little bit. And, I support the guy, but what do we just get ourselves into? You know, that's the question. And the obvious answer is, well, it's better than what we would have got with Hillary Clinton. Yep, you're right. So we just elected a reality TV show billionaire president with ties to that scary white Christian country called Russia. So, we got to keep an eye on this guy, make sure he doesn't try to, import a bunch of refugees or something. But, I guess I do support the guy, I should clarify. But at the same time, this is a brave new world. This is a new frontier. We just got to keep an eye on him, make sure, it's going to go one of two ways. And I think it's about 95% chance that he's going to be legit. His ego is going to ensure that he goes down in history as a great president, which means he will do a good job for America. That's what I see for Trump. But, in the back of my head, there's also that 5%, whatever. I don't want to call it the horror story, the Democrat scare tactic of, what is this dude really about? Was this some crazy fix from the get-go? I don't think it was, but we just elected a reality TV superstar. How funny is that? Yeah. So I got more to say about that, but I'm going to bounce around here a little bit. First of all, I'm doing a podcast now. I call it a radio program because I'm going to try to do this regularly, and it's still flexible. I'm not even sure what time it's going to be on, but I'm going to try to put it on 2 or 3 times a week. And I don't know if you guys can hear the dog barking in the background, but I'm going to have to work on my recording studio safe space here so that we can get better quality audio. Interestingly enough, I'm just recording this with a iPhone 7. So let me know what you think of the audio. I'm working on it. I might have to get a better microphone, but I don't know. We'll see. It's doing the trick for now. I think there's something to be said for this because you could be making your own podcast too. Technology is crazy, and we are in a brave new world. Donald Trump just got elected because of social media. We're putting an end to the mainstream media too. That's something to be said for this whole Donald Trump cult following movement, I should call it, whatever. Something about this Donald Trump movement is we don't like the media. So start your own media, right? A lot of you people I follow on Twitter are pretty interesting, and I would probably listen to you for, half hour, an hour, 20 minutes. How long can you say interesting stuff that people want to listen to you for, I guess, I'm wondering about this show, too. I think my goal right now is probably about an hour podcast each time. I think I want to put one out on Saturday, one on Sunday. I might just start with the weekends now. Just do an hour show twice a weekend and kind of recap the week more or less, but stay current. I don't know. I'm up in the air. I'm also toying with the idea of putting a Wednesday show in midweek. I think the hour is about where I'm at before I start to run out of things to say. So, it's all up in the air. We'll see. I might change this as we get going here, but you can do it too. I want to encourage a lot of y'all, if you're on Twitter, if you got any following at all, go get yourself a website. Call yourself a blogger. It'll make you more interesting to follow on Twitter, if you can believe that. Only in the sake that it looks like, makes it look like you got enough belief in what you have to say to go spend $9 on your own domain, which will make it easier when Twitter tries to censor you for people to follow and figure out where you went to. So that's another reason I want to get this podcast going right now, is because we are looking at a trollocaust of censorship on Twitter. I can't believe how many people are getting suspended, I guess is what they call it, banned or hoaxed off, maybe is what I would call it. Like, you just delete these accounts, so I don't know. It looks like they might be giving out a warning now, too, telling people they have to delete some tweets. I don't know if you guys follow John Rivers, too, I think was the guy's name. I retweet him all the time. I'm sure some of you know who I'm talking about. And he just got suspended, and I think he's back now with a new account. Forget what he named it. Everyone's coming back with new accounts. Ricky Vaughn and everybody getting banned. And I just want to talk about one of the tweets that John Rivers was told to delete, according to the screenshots I read. But it said something like, "There's no such thing as hate speech." Is that really the idea Twitter wants to ban? Like, I mean, I support free speech across the board. Crazy gangster rap, violent stuff, I think people should be able to say. Hate, genocide, all that stuff, I think people should be able to say it, because freedom of speech is pretty important. It's actually one of the major pillars of America and the United States and what this whole country is founded on. It's a revolutionary concept that you can speak your mind freely, say what you actually want, and not get hauled off to some prison and tortured for, speaking your mind. So I definitely think, the First Amendment's worth fighting for. But there's no such thing as hate speech, is what he said. Like, out of all the stuff you want to start banning people for, that is a pretty mild statement. I guess they're banning people for more and more stuff, but I mean, I just couldn't believe Twitter actually singled that out. Like, we would like you to delete, there is no such thing as hate speech. I guess maybe that's a fundamental pillar of the Twitter, liberal, whatever you want to call it, leftist platform. There is such a thing as hate speech, and it needs to be a crime. I mean, that's the exact opposite of free speech, really. We're going to start labeling ideas we don't like hate speech and banning it, so there will be some legal trouble. Cops with guns, armed thugs, whatever you want to call them, could come and shoot you over your words. I don't like to call them armed thugs. I mean, blue lives matter, all lives matter, whatever you want to talk about, but just, look at the other side of this. Had Hillary Clinton won, and had she started, we're going to ban free speech, we're going to come take your rights away, oh, you have guns, we don't like this, she could very easily turn cops into thugs, blue lives into thugs. And what that hinges on is it's the rule of law. That's what made America great. That's what made a lot of countries great, is like, yeah, we're not just going to have a king anymore, we're going to have laws. So instead of some asshole just ruling on a whim, there's laws that are going to apply equally to everybody. See, once you have that, then there's a system, there's something to uphold, blah, blah, blah. That makes the cop, the police officer's job honorable. He's enforcing a law that we all agree on in theory. And, I see a lot of sides of this. I know there's a lot of, strife between the police and the public these days. I think it's important that we uphold the rule of law. And I do see that, your average police officer in uniform is not the problem, per se. I mean, if he's following orders, he could become the problem, but the problem's higher up. It's the laws, it's the justice system, it's what they are being told to do. So the answer is not to take it out on the person with a gun who's trained to put you behind bars, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people are angry these days. So, I mean, it's like if Blue Lives Matter, we have to uphold the rule of law, and the rule of law matters too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's such an important concept. And looking at this past election, it's like, no, we're on sanctuary cities, and certain people don't have to follow certain laws. That's the breakdown of rule of law, and that's what's going to make America, fall off the cliff from first worldness to third worldness. Like, once we lose the rule of law, what do we have then? The rule of bribery and gun violence? I mean, is that where that's going? I don't think many people focused on that aspect of the election. Like, one thing I was tweeting a lot, why do I have to pay back my student loans if illegal immigrants don't have to follow our laws? If Hillary Clinton doesn't have to live by the same laws that I have to follow, I'd like to be able to pick a few, pick and choose which laws I have to follow too. And, if we really do go further down the road of this whole breakdown of rule of law, you might see something like that coming in the future where neighborhoods, states, communities might come together and decide which laws we are going to enforce and which laws we are going to ignore. It's a pretty un-American idea. We're supposed to have, the Bill of Rights and it's supposed to protect you wherever you happen to be in this great country. But, look around. Certain states are regulating the size of your soda pop now. So, it's an interesting question I want to throw out to you guys. What laws do you want to be able to ignore? You know what I mean? Okay, so we don't all follow all the laws anymore. What laws would benefit you, your group, your family, your neighborhood, your community, if we could just ignore them? Maybe you don't want to pay federal income taxes. That would probably save your community a lot of money. we're going to spend this money at home. There's a time and a place for all this stuff. There's some benefit to the federal government. I'm not going to get the whole federalist, anti-federalist thing, blah, blah, blah. But just think about this. We are looking at the rule of law. Hillary Clinton was running on, we don't have to follow immigration laws. Follow that a little logically further, we can pick and choose which laws we don't have to follow. That is a slippery slope to interesting new country, I guess. You start going down that road, well, then I can see why people are going to have issues with police officers wanting to enforce a law on you when they're not enforcing laws on other groups. So, I understand a lot of the chaos with people being upset with the police, too. I think the media is stoking that to make it a racial issue when it's not. I wonder, here's what I say. Put a body camera on every police officer. That's the one thing, we still haven't got to this point yet. Are you kidding me? Every month or two, it seems like there's some case now where it's a he said, she said, somebody got shot by a police officer and we don't know why, and it's not on camera, and it's just, these guys think the police officers murdered them and the cops think that we just defended ourselves. And it's transparency. That's what we're coming down to. You're either for cameras on them or you're not. I'm for it. I'm all about it. I feel like in this day and age, they got us all, most of us, carrying around a camera in our pocket, some tracking device, a microphone that NSA can do who knows what with, and foreign hackers or just cyber criminals that happen to figure out how to get into people of interest's phones or whatever. It's a brave new world. The technology's here. Police officers should be wearing body cameras around now. That's my belief, and I think that had Black Lives Matter been on that all along, they would have got a lot more accomplished. But of course, a lot of us know that group is a propaganda wing of other people's agendas, and they were just trying to stoke the racial division to get their candidate elected. I'm assuming based on how anti-Trump the media was, that was the case, and Clinton was their candidate, the only person they had left. I think that there were definitely establishment hacks in the Republican primary, and Trump beat him. I want to talk about what I like about Trump now. Change the subject a little bit. First thing that made me, I don't know. Someone was telling me once, look, at first I thought it was kind of a joke. I was just working and I see on the news Donald Trump is running for president, and, whatever. People do it from time to time. Roseanne Barr, I think, has been running for president forever. It's a joke. But when they started talking about that wall and securing our borders, I realized, whoa, this is something different. Started looking at Trump a little bit closer. And here's some of the things that kind of made me start thinking this might be a good idea here, electing him. And the first thing is, look at his ego. We know this guy is egotistical, and that's not always a bad thing. I think I look at him and I realize he's got tons of money. He lives in some fancy-ass tower covered in gold and all that. He can retire good. You know what I mean? If I had that much money, I don't know if I'd want to work anymore. He doesn't have to go be president. He does not have to be getting all these death threats and all these assassinate Trump comments all over the place. He has put himself in danger. He's put his family in danger when he could probably live one of the most easiest lives ever and just enjoy his old age, whatever. So the first thing is, he doesn't have to do this. I know, Hillary Clinton might be in that same boat too, but I I think Trump has a little fancier life. And Hillary's kind of doing this as a career, and that's a different story. I think Hillary's crazy, too, by the way. I think she is mad power hungry in, like, the mental illness way, because she's gotten away with breaking a lot of laws and made a lot of money doing so. And, I mean, if you just common sense, you know, if you're going to break the laws, you don't want to get caught doing it, right? You want to take your money and run, so to speak. Well, she should have taken her money and run a long time ago. I mean, if I was her attorney right now, I'd say get the hell out of this country to a country that doesn't extradite and try to take as much with you as you can. But, I mean, even if she takes 1% of what she's worth, she'll still be rich as hell, I'm sure, in whatever country she ends up in. But who knows? That might not be as easy as it sounds right there when you're someone like Hillary Clinton and people, she probably has a lot of enemies. So where can she go? I don't know. I was running some polls on Twitter here to see what is going to come of Hillary Clinton's legal issues, I should say, plural. I think last time I checked, it was about 36% of you. I think 1,000 people or so are polled. 36% of you or so were saying you expect her to end up doing some jail time and or dying from her legal issues. I think that kind of factors into Hillary's health issue too. Like maybe our justice system moves so damn slow that she will pass away due to natural causes, I guess, before she could be convicted, blah, blah, blah. Or possibly she gets convicted, ends up in jail, prison, whatever, and then dies in prison because she's getting old and she doesn't look very healthy. I think that's possible. That's the majority vote right now, 36% of you. But, I mean, you only have 4 choices in a Twitter poll, so that could mean, you know, she sits in jail for one night and makes bail, I suppose. But, yeah, okay, approximately 1/3 of people or so think that she will get some sort of legal punishment for any of the crimes that she's having issues with right now. About 35%, which is about 1/3 too, but a little less than the people, 1% less or so, than the people who think she'll go to jail or die, think that Obama will pardon her. And that's possible too. I'm not sure, I mean, because everyone always says, well, does she have to be charged with the crimes first before they can pardon her? And I think there is such a thing as a blanket pardon. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but I mean, just looking at it, it'd be interesting to think. I mean, theoretically, she could be pardoned, and then Trump could come in, and she could end up in jail too, and she could die later. I mean, she's gonna die. Obviously, everyone dies at old age, but so likely this poll's kind of biased, and like you're gonna see some combination of more than one possibility here. But this is just the general sentiment from my trying to understand it. 35% or so think that Obama is going to pardon Hillary. And I would like, if she's going to get a blanket pardon, I mean, because another thing is, might they charge her specifically with the intent to pardon her before Trump gets into office? And that would really be rushing the justice system through at an unusual, probably unorthodox rate. So I don't know if that's possible, but it seems like a lot of people want to bend the rules for Hillary. So, yeah, whatever. And then the other third broke down between a few choices. I forget exactly how it was. I think one was Clinton will flee the country, and one was that the Trump administration will choose to pardon her and drop the charges, which I think is possible too. Again, you're probably going to see some combination of all this. She might get pardoned on a lot of stuff, and they might find something to hit her with just to mark up her record, rule of law again. It might be important. I think there's some people who are so upset about this they feel she needs to be prosecuted. And I think Trump ran on the she will get prosecuted mandate, and he has the authority to do it to the point where people are probably going to be upset if he doesn't prosecute her. But like he settled his Trump University lawsuit the other day, he might realize he has bigger fish to fry, and it might even be within the interest of bringing the country together to ignore the rule of law and pardon her, just to get the I mean, I've been talking about rule of law. You got prosecutors, how I feel. But we've seen it before where they choose not to prosecute previous administrations just for the sake of, I mean, you heard it in the debates. You're not supposed to run, and we're going to throw the previous people in jail. Apparently, that's regardless of what crimes they have or have not committed. So, I mean, the leftists maybe want to turn that into a dictatorship where they can just king over us or queen over us, I suppose. But, you know, we have the rule of law, we have the electoral college and all that. So, who knows? Keep whining about the popular vote, I guess. And I'm at this point. Do people even trust our elections anymore? That's another thing I'd like to see transparency brought back into. We need to restore the trust in our elections. Voter IDs, getting rid of these electric machines. There's a lot to be done. And the media, too. I mean, if you want to talk about it was rigged, look at the media. If nothing else comes from the Trump administration, if he can smash up this whole corporate media, mainstream media, propaganda, blah, 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 I'd probably consider it a great victory. But, there's that 5% chance that this was all planned. He was their guy all along. He's just going to start World War III, or Obama's going to start World War III and Trump's going to finish it, or who knows. But my looking at this right now, I voted for Trump. You had to because, Clinton's obviously worse, duh. And Trump seems to have our best interest at heart. So, people can lie, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt just on the fact that this is the obvious choice, But like I was saying in the beginning, just keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't, I think he probably will do very well. But, too, he's not a politician. So there might be an error or two that he makes, and, we stand up and correct it. There's means for that. It's freedom of speech, blah, blah, blah. It's the press's job, but they're not doing it anymore. So it'd be interesting, too, to see how the mainstream media wants to keep going after Trump and his, the strategy guy, Bannon, the white supremacist, so to speak. And I want to go back and rehash on some more election opinion. This is where things get interesting. Did we just elect a Nazi, white supremacist, racist, bigot, blah, 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 every other name and slur, every anti-white slur they can throw at Donald Trump? Did we just elect that? Is that what the people chose? Do we really, I was looking for Hitler and Donald Trump was as close as I could get? Is that what just happened? Or were they full of shit all along, and did these liberal lefties just really, really overplay the whole Holocaust, anti-Semite, whatever you want to call this card, racist, neo-Nazi Hollywood card? Maybe canard is a better word, really. Did they just totally overplay that? And what's going to come of this? I mean, the way I see it, maybe we did just elect, maybe that's at 5%, whatever. We just elected Adolf Hitler and he's going to start building gas chambers, but I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't believe that at all. I think what we just saw is the left threw all these hate slurs, and that's what they are, they're hate slurs, at the Republican like they usually do, but this one got out of hand because he was an actual fighter who was going up against their system, so they had to just throw the book at him, and the book's full of a bunch of hate slurs, apparently. So where does that leave us now? Has the term Nazi, has the term anti-Semite, has the term conspiracy theorist, has the term racist even, have all these terms just lost all their effect? And then, too, is there any value in having any of those terms anymore, too? If somebody really does hold, the belief that, I don't know, black race is different than Asian race, is that in a, is there an ism that we need to slap on that belief? Because a lot of people do hold racial beliefs that aren't necessarily bad, but, it's that whole white men can't jump, black people playing the NBA, Asians are smart. The whole Asians are smart thing. People do hold beliefs that are based on race, and is that racist? And do we need a word to, this goes down to the medical community too, sickle cell anemia affects certain races differently, and there's a time and a place to discuss this. It doesn't mean that you're KKK, neo-Nazi, blah, blah, blah. You start talking about, I don't know, there's not as many Jewish people in the NBA or something. It doesn't mean you're a hater, but that was the anti, that's the slur they throw at you. There's a bunch of them here. The bigot, you're a bigot, blah, blah, blah. Words are bigoted. Even stereotyping between cars and minivans is a little bit bigoted. It's not hateful, but there's a time and a place for certain judgments and blah, blah, blah. But I come back to, they've watered these words down so far. And is there any value for look at the word neo-Nazi, white supremacist, prison gang. I'll throw that in there too, prison gang, because that's kind of the typical meme there. But you never hear of black supremacist prison gangs or Mexican supremacist prison gangs. But they're there. I mean, there's racially divided, like La Raza, blah, blah, blah. But they don't get the anti-white slur hate thrown at them. Like, they're a bunch of neo-Nazi, Hitler, Holocaust, Nazis who want to kill 7 million Jews, blah, blah, blah. And, I mean, that's where I'm going with, like, we need to redefine all these words. And I think that's what we saw happen. I think that these words have lost their value, which is interesting because now it's like, when someone like David Duke goes and runs for Senate in Louisiana, what can they call him? White? You know, well, he's not racist anymore. He's not a bigot, I guess. Like, you get the point. There may be a time and a place for some of these words, but they've been so overused now that it's like, where are we left now? And like, too, are all these leftists really sitting back scared that there's going to be like a Holocaust? We've just elected the next Adolf Hitler? Is that really like where their minds are at? Or can they at least admit we've been a little disingenuous about this whole, oh, you're a hater, racist thing? You know, so I don't know. We'll just have to see if Trump can come out and grab this one by the pussy and take it by the horns or whatever. But I cannot believe this election. It's been fun. It really has. Changed gears a little bit. You might notice it skipped here. I'm recording this on GarageBand, and it apparently only lets you record like 600 some bars. And I think I've been talking for like 40 minutes or so. I'm not sure, but I'm probably gonna wrap this one up soon. I'm not sure what all else I have to say. Today is Saturday, but tomorrow usually I probably do a Sunday show. I don't know if there's gonna be a show or not. I might work on putting some of my I'm gonna put some more audio in, some buffer music, I guess is what it's called. I'm looking to put some commercials in here too, so if any of you want to write me a check to say almost anything, it's negotiable. But we'll see. We gotta get the viewership up first. I want to get this podcast going. I'm gonna put it on my YouTube probably for now. That's an easy enough way to share it on Twitter, but I'm gonna try to get it in the iTunes library, and I'm not sure how to host it, how to get it on my website, PsychicDogTalk.com, blah, 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 but it's coming. We'll figure it out. I'm going to teach you guys how to do it, too, because I know there's a lot of interesting people out there, too, that I want to read on a blog, and I want to hear their podcast. So if I can do it, you can do it. It's a brave new world. It's time to take over the media. And, I like doing this. In my day-to-day life, most of the people I know are not as politically active as I am, so it's like I can't talk about this stuff with them. And it's kind of funny to just sit here ranting to an empty room, just talking to a microphone and having that go out over the internet and thousands of people can hear it potentially, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's kind of cool because it's like now my friends don't have to hear me rant about politics, and if you guys want to hear me rant about politics, you can. You know, I'm sure that a lot of you have something like that. Maybe it's your quilting group or something. Podcast about it. If you have something interesting to say, put a blog together. It's like $9 to get your own domain. Can't think, was it WordPress? Yeah, WordPress. It's easy. If you can manage a Facebook account, if you can handle Twitter, you can figure out how to have your own website and have your own blog, and probably even have your own podcast. If I can do it, you can do it, right? So I'm gonna tell you guys how I do it as I figure it out too. So I hope some of you listening will make a run at this too. Like, there's going to be a huge power vacuum here when the mainstream media collapses. When President Trump is just, I don't know, calling them out for liars for one. When he starts inviting people like Breitbart to the press corps. If he gives that Alex Jones guy an InfoWars press reporter in the White House, we're going to be looking at a different country here real soon. So either way, I think that's another thing you got to take away from the election. We voted against the mainstream media's candidate. You know what I mean? That we do not believe Donald Trump is the next Adolf Hitler who's going to start some nuclear war over, hacked illegal emails or something. But what's going to happen now? Are we going to let CNN keep lying to us? And Fox News is the worst of them all. Yeah, they might not be as bad as MSNBC and CNN, but the problem is no one believes MSNBC or CNN anymore. There's a lot of conservatives, mostly old people who aren't on the internet getting the news like they should be, who just, they don't have any other choice. Fox News is the most conservative, so they go there. And what's bad about Fox News is what they don't cover. It's those key moments that they cut away from a Trump rally. It's what they hide. That makes it bad. They're propaganda, I guess. They're the conservative side of the official story that you're supposed to believe in will be installed, if the oligarchs have their way. So that's like one of the main themes I want to hit on here. I guess if I'm talking about Trump more too, he's the anti-war candidate. That's what I like. And I like that too. I mean, there's a time and a place for war. And if we are going to send our troops over to fight a war, well, then we're going to go fucking win it. You know what I mean? Like, we're not going to send our troops overseas to just sit around waiting for people to snipe them off without any clear objective of what we're trying to win. I keep seeing that ad on TV about Donald Trump saying he's going to bomb the shit out of them. Well, that's what you do when you go to war. Ideally, we don't go to war unless it's actually a needed war. As long as Trump can stick to that, then yeah, if something happens where we need to go to war, you bomb the shit out of them. I mean, it's easy. So I don't want to see World War III, and that's part of the reason I voted for Trump. I like the whole let's have peace with Russia. I mean, Clinton blaming everything on Russia all the time? Wow. It's a good thing she wasn't blaming the Jews in Israel, because that would be anti-Semitic. You know what I mean? Like, it's her boogeyman. Oh, Russia, Putin, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, even if Putin did hack her emails, what do you want to do about it? You know, if cybersecurity is such a big deal, why do you have some shitty-ass private email server with classified information on it? Oh, no, I don't want to go to jail for that. Let's start World War III. Is that what you think? Like, we had to vote for Donald Trump. You know what I mean? There's no choice here. So he won. Oh, that's funny, too. I've been laughing about it for a long time. The grin on my face is finally worn off. My cheeks are not sore anymore from laughing about it. But I've been a fan. I've enjoyed watching Trump. I've enjoyed watching his family. I think it's good that we just elected a businessman. He seems like a class act across the board. And, I mean, you really can't demonize his kids or his wife. Well, I guess maybe his wife, but I don't have any issues with her. Like, whatever. Compare everything against Bill Clinton, against the Clinton crime family, all those scandals. I mean, there's no choice. We had to vote for Trump. I think his ego is going to keep him in line and make him be a great president. I think he knows what he's doing, too. I think that, I think he has his wits about him. And it's about time we elected somebody who has their wits about him and wants to use that for us, for America first. So I'm kind of excited about that, see where this goes. I feel like there's something else I want to say here. Maybe I should stop this podcast and think of it, but I'm going to rant through and try to remember here. If we're talking about Donald Trump, what else is there to say about this election? Is there more to say about Hillary? Yeah, obviously. I think people are writing books about it. But it doesn't matter anymore. She didn't win, right? We can move forward. So, where else do we have to go? I guess I want to come back to the race issue. Building a wall is kind of interesting here. And they talk about how white people kind of came together as a voting bloc here, like a lot of the other ethnic identities have been doing. I'm not going to say minorities because white people are becoming a minority both here and in Europe. So, this is what gets me. And it's not, I mean, now we're talking in racial stereotypes again, which is just majorities. It's not everybody, but it's enough to talk about. We've been hearing it on the news. Oh my God, how are women voting? How are, Mexican women voting? How are black men voting? Like, they broke it down by every demographic group, which, I'm just going to keep talking here. On the race issue, I was always taught America is a melting pot. But I work in kitchens. I'm a chef. And I wish I didn't have to do this whole political stuff, but a lot of us have found ourselves feeling like we need to do it. Not one point in my professional kitchen cooking career, blah, 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 have I ever had a recipe that said, take all the food out of the kitchen, cupboards, blah, 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 fridge, everything, freezer, put it in one big pot, turn the heat on, and let it boil over. You know what I mean? That's not a recipe. That's what their melting pot theory is, but it's not, sounds good. It's not going to turn out good. And I want to talk about, I could leave America and the border wall in Mexico out of this. You can still talk about the same thing over in Europe, coming across the Mediterranean. And then I want to talk about, too, a lot of these people that are coming in are coming from countries that we can't just move to, and they're not going to uphold our rights. Like, if you want to go live by Sharia law, there's plenty of places where you could do that in the world. If you want to go live in a homeland for Mexicans, there's a country you can go do that. So, this comes down to nationalism. It comes down to ethnicity. And we're back to Steve Bannon, the economic nationalist, the America First nationalist who happens to be white. Therefore making him a white nationalist, I suppose. at least under the media logic, like, maybe that slur just lost all its value. Maybe there is no, I don't know, maybe white nationalist doesn't mean anything, but I think it kind of does, because I do not want to see white people become a minority all around the world. I really don't. Especially forced. You know what I mean? There might be places where migration causes it in certain geographic regions, and, you know, look at the Southwest. We get along down there. But we don't need to be saying every corner of the world we need to diversify. Like, there's not enough Japanese people here. There's not enough Indians here. There's not enough Israelis here. There's not enough Egyptians here. We don't need to just, you know, like this. That's their goal. Some of them, like, let's just mix this all together, stir the pot, and see what the fuck happens. I don't think that's going to work out well. My opinions on this kind of changed when I looked up. There was an article on Wikipedia that I don't think's out there anymore, but it was ethnic conflict, and I listed every ethnic conflict throughout history, or at least a long list of a bunch of them. And it was like stuff I'd never even heard of, places I've never, you know, in Asia, and just, you know, there's all sort of there's a bunch of different ethnicities and sub-ethnicities, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look at, before white people showed up in North America, the tribes are fighting amongst each other. There's always been, you know, fights over resources and in-groups and out-groups and all that. But it's different now. And what made it poison was the media really tried to play this race card, just twisting it all around. We're going to import all these Democratic voters who don't even speak your language. Like, if you want to go migrate to another country, they're probably going to ask you how much money do you have in the bank. And they're probably going to, you know, well, I don't have any. I was just coming over here to, you know, mooch off of your food stamps and stuff. They're probably going to say no. They might ask you what skill set. They might want to see a college degree. You know, like, oh, well, you know, they don't want to just take anybody. That's, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being selective when our unemployment rate is so high, too. You know what I mean? Like, if we need to take immigrants, no, not even that. In certain geographic things, say, you know, another disaster strikes Haiti or something, I can understand, okay, your country's just been, something happened, you guys got to go somewhere. There's a time and a place for migration. But let it be organic. You know, let it be one culture moving in next to another culture, and not like, you know, there are situations where there are multicultural cities and neighborhoods, and usually it's, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, but it's not mix the whole damn world together and see what happens. And, I mean, there are probably some cities that do mix the whole world together. There's still not, you know, proportional or an even mix. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, I need 50% this, 50% that, blah, blah, blah. But there are multicultural places where it works. And, you know, I don't have anything against that. But I think that, you know, if it's worked and it's occurred organically, great. We're not going to force that on the rest of the world. And it's going to cause problems coming in saying, well, this area is too white, and we need more Jamaican migrants here. We need more Guatemalans here, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's crazy, and it's racist. I mean, whatever word you want to use there, it is, it's not looking at everybody based on their character. You know, well, who's the most qualified for this job? And that's the thing here. Like, really, on an individual level, I have no issue with people, and you know what I mean? Like, oh, okay, I work in kitchens. I work around a lot of great chefs from different cultures. I like to learn from the sushi chefs that aren't white, blah, blah, blah. There's a time and a place for everything. But they've twisted this whole racial issue here in this past election with the whole Trump is Hitler thing to the point where, I mean, there's serious suppression of free speech. People are afraid to put Trump signs in their front yard because they think they're going to be attacked. And that's a whole other issue, too, because they act like we're a bunch of neo-Nazi haters, blah, blah, blah. But look around the country right now. There's violence being carried out against Trump supporters. There's like 10 cases of it on YouTube, filmed attacks. I don't even understand the idiocracy behind, well, I'm going to go assault somebody, so let's film it and post it on YouTube. You know what I mean? Like, when you're breaking laws, smart people try not to get caught. Or don't film it and post it on YouTube. So, I mean, that's another issue where the media is still trying to run with this, like, oh, like Hillary won and we got to take this election away from Trump, go through a riot. You know, Trump's a hateful bigot, blah, blah, blah. But look at all the attacks. You don't see Trump supporters going around attacking Hillary supporters. You just don't. But they'll find some swastikas that somebody painted up on some park in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the night. I mean, for all you know, it's an inside job. And I think, my guess is 80+% of all these hate crime, speech crime, word swastika vandalism, that's about as much as you'll get from me. Yeah, it was acts of vandalism. Somebody spray painted something. I think a lot of that stuff they keep hyping up is inside job. You know what I mean? Like, that false hate crimes are real. Hate crime hoaxes, they're real. And the problem is people play the victimhood card. There's political gain to be had from playing the victim card. So I think that's what we're seeing here. But I just want to say, Trump supporters are probably the most oppressed, if not the most oppressed people, like, I don't know, per capita. If somehow, I don't know how to say it. It's the most mainstream view that is violently oppressed in America. Trump just got elected president because, I don't know, maybe he didn't win the popular vote, maybe he did, but about 50% of politically active people support him. I mean, we're not talking about white supremacy here, blah, blah, blah. But, there's certain neighborhoods, put on a Trump hat and go walk through them late at night, white boy. Let's see what happens. Trump supporters are oppressed. I'm sick of hearing other more privileged ethnic groups play the oppression card and have all these ethnic-centric groups and nations and stuff looking out for their interests. Well, they act like, us trying to build a wall on the border, securing our own borders is some racist, hate crime, Holocaust, Nazi, blah, blah, blah. So the race issue has yet to be resolved, but we voted. So, I mean, did we just elect white supremacy, or is there a middle ground here? You know what I mean? I've kind of painted both extreme sides of it. There's a middle ground here that we're going to find out of necessity, I'd imagine. But it'll be interesting to see, too. I think one thing we're not really seeing yet is if Trump really does start deporting illegal immigrants, that could cause a lot of violence. Or not a lot of violence, but I think you will see some people take up arms over it. And they're probably going to take it out on the front lines, which just happens to be blue life. So watch out, cops. But, I don't know, maybe it'll be ICE or somebody, not ISIS. That's the thing here, though. Like, there's a race issue here. Somehow, certain laws have become racist to follow. Like, certain ethnic groups think that they get exceptions. It's not everybody. It's not. A lot of people in certain ethnic groups that you would think would be against certain policies are for them. And I'm speaking so vaguely here, but I think you all know what I'm saying. This is something, that's an issue that's beyond Trump. This race issue has been coming. White people are a minority in the world, and we're becoming a minority in both America and, I don't know if you want to say Europe is our homeland, whatever. Like, that's not going to be sustainable, to put it politely. Like, there's a difference, man. I hate to say it, but, I don't know. Look up race and IQ. Some countries have done more than other countries. Some peoples have done more than other peoples. And it's funny that white Europeans, whatever you want to call us, white people, we get the whole we're racist, fucking bigot, neo-Nazi hater card played on us all the time, but all the third world wants to risk their life to sneak into our countries and live off of live in our first world neighborhoods. You know what I mean? I'm sick of this white privilege thing. I think that is a very hateful thing too, that maybe should be thrown in the anti-white slurs I was mentioning about. We're not, you can't have people going around talking about white privilege like it's some bad, that white people have to pay for it. That's just like talking about Jewish privilege. I think Hitler was trying to round up the Jews and get them to pay for their privilege or something. You know what I mean? Like that. Where's this one gonna go? Like, and it's just totally liberal culture. Oh yeah, white privilege. We gotta do something about it. We gotta diversify. We need less white people here. We gotta fire some white people. Diversify. I mean, people lose their jobs over this stuff. It's a serious issue, and it's so contradictory to like the whole egalitarian, all men are created equal type principle. Like, no, we have affirmative action. And the reason we have affirmative action is because you're not equal. You know what I mean? Like it's double standards all over the place. And there's a middle ground here that's not hateful. And that's what we have to find. And we have to, I mean, it's going to happen either way. It's the zeitgeist. But it'll be interesting to see the dynamics. Are white people going to be a minority? And if so, will we never elect white candidates again? Will we get affirmative action, blah, blah, blah? Or is there going to be some time period here where we're getting the illegal immigrants out of here and putting this wall up on our border might, I'm going to end the show here. You know what I mean? I've put some issues out here. Feel free to comment. I'm probably going to post this on YouTube and then post it on Twitter. So if you're on YouTube, comment on YouTube. If you're on Twitter, comment on Twitter beneath this post. You can follow me on Twitter at PsychicDogTalk3. You can follow me on Gab at PsychicDogTalk. I haven't been suspended from 2 accounts over there previously, and they might be more about free speech than Twitter, which is yet to be determined, but you can also follow me on my website, PsychicDogTalk.com. If I get banned from any one of these places, I'll post there, let you know where I'm going next. But I want to know what you guys think too. This show is about more than me. It's about you guys too. Like, I like being on Twitter. I like the interaction with people who care about these issues. So I'm gonna throw all this out there. Let you think about it. Let me know what you think. And it might be next weekend before I do another show. But I'm gonna figure out how to get this one all. If I don't edit this one up all right, the next one's gonna get edited better. You get buffer music here soon too. So there's one other thing I was gonna say here before I log off, and I might leave that one hanging because I can't remember. Got a second here. Let me think. Birth rates and death rates. Do you know white people are the only population or ethnic group in America whose life expectancy has been decreasing over the past few years? Look at the birth rates. Like, we are on course to become a minority here. And what is that going to mean for democracy? Have a good night. Logging off.